Hello race fans and welcome. We are standing on top of the sprint car world, right? Pretty well literally on the grandstand here at the unbelievable Knoxville Raceway. Tony Bokhoven, the voice of the Knoxville Raceway, joins us and is the 25th annual Arnold Motor Supply 360 Sprint Car Nationals. You've got to be pumped.
It's one of the biggest races that we have all year long, and it's become one of the fan favorites here. And we've got a great crop of cars that will be here this weekend, and I'm really excited to see if we can crown a new champion.
Over $101,000 on the line this weekend.
It pays great, and it pays back. That's one of the differences between a lot of these big sprint car races is it's not all up on the top and, second and third place go home empty-handed. Pays back quite nicely all the way through 10th.
Back in 1991, when this event was first held, there was a great local success story here.
We've had a lot of local guys that have done pretty well here. The winningest driver of the Knoxville Raceway, David Hessmer, has had success here. We've had our locals, Terry McCarl, have success here. And Wade, I think that's one of the things that makes this race unique is that sprint car racing in general has got very big. 360 racing has got very big. But the best in the best come here, and the local guys can compete with the best in the nation.
Probably what says the most about 360 racing is the guy that won the King's Royal only a couple of weekends ago is the winningest driver in the 360 Nationals in Shane Stewart.
He's won this race 5 times. He's come out here and been very commanding. He hasn't, slouched his way into the win. I think we could see, with the momentum he's had, he could be a contender here again. But I think there are some other guys this year that are gunning for Shane, and we could see an interesting race on Saturday night. Defending
champion is downstairs setting up his t-shirt stand already. Brian Brown, a guy who's pumped as usual.
Brian Brown is a fan favorite here, and I would have told you last year that with the momentum they ended the season on, that next year would be another repeat for him. But he struggled this year. He has not been on top of his game. Now, it only takes one good night to change those things, but I think Brian is going to really have to work to defend his crown.
I wrote down a few names that I thought, guys need to keep an eye on. Some guy called Lasowski here tonight.
Well, he's the winningest driver at the Knoxville Raceway. 106 times he's been to victory lane. I don't think he's the best in the 360 business, though.
Yes, we talked about that earlier. You've got a bit of a man that you believe could create some very unique history.
Well, if my premonition comes true, I think tonight or this weekend we will see history in the making. I think Justin Henderson could be the first driver in the history of both the 360 Knoxville Nationals and the FVP Knoxville Nationals to win both.
There you have it. Leading with his jaw, the Tony Bokhoven kiss of death, we would call that in Australia. Let's move through Brian Clausen. There's a guy with an enormous talent.
Brian Clausen has won a lot of races both with a wing and without a wing. He's been running here not every week, but he's been building some consistency with the Elk Grove Ford team. He could be a top 5 contender.
Throw a wild card at you from Texas. He won the Peter Murphy Classic only a weekend ago back in Tulare, California. Aaron Reitzel.
Aaron started out racing here at the beginning of the season. We saw him a few weeks in a row. The thing I believe he brings to the table is because he's raced at a lot of different racetracks across the country, he understands different track conditions. And depending on what the weather does here this week, he could be a factor.
Legend, you spell it D-A-N-N-Y, Smith. What a guy.
Oh man, how cool would it be to see a guy like Danny Smith come out of here with a 360 Nationals win? It would be a fan favorite for sure.
Aussie Jordan Brazier, who's been showing a bit of improvement over the last few weeks.
It's been fun to watch him and his father Gary Brazier working together in the pits and then trying to learn from one another. He's got a lot of potential. He's a young guy, and what he's got going for him is he's a gasser. He's not afraid to get up on the cushion.
Americans and Australians still remember Kenny Jacobs and Gary Brazier having an animated discussion many years ago. Calvin Landis.
Calvin got a very popular win here last weekend. It had been 7 years since he had visited Knoxville Raceway Victory Lane. With the momentum, he's got an underfunded team, but he's got a lot of history here. And last weekend, he showed that he can still get the job done.
Well, the format is brutal. Much like the Knoxville Nationals, you invert from 6 to get forward to 4.
Yes, 6 to 4, and it's all about luck here this week.
Luck is a very big part in sprint car racing. It's going to be epic. Tony can't wait to call it. He's pretty keen to get away from that huge drop that we're standing back just here as well. Track looks like it's getting ready to be perfect. Big field of cars. Going to be wicked, folks.